Salvador, that he fled to the U.S. to escape authorities for that crime. DNA found at the scene ties him to a brutal home invasion in L.A. last year, just a month after he crossed into the U.S. illegally. Now, Harford, Maryland, for the record, is about 1,800 miles from the southern border. This was Rachel's mother, Patricia Morin, yesterday, offering her appreciation to law enforcement.
I am so grateful that they have brought us to this place. Because at some of the points during this, I didn't think that we were ever going to have an end, that it was going to be a cold case. So I would like to applaud them.
I got to tell you, many of us were wondering. Joining us once again is the Harford County Sheriff, Jeffrey Gahler. Thank you so much for being back on the program. Appreciate it. And I'm glad that we're talking in this context rather than just the context of how to help find the killer. What was the thing that finally was able to help you crack the case?
Dan, thanks for having us on and again sharing Rachel's story. And yeah, I hate to use any good adjective associated with what happened in this tragic case, but we are all very pleased that we were able to put together. It takes time to do things right. Times right. Persistence and patience has paid off. But the big break came with the DNA evidence. The DNA, I said all along, it's going to be science and technology that's going to help us solve Rachel's homicide. And indeed, science took us to the other coast in the country, back to that Los Angeles case, that video. And the science and technology, the DNA helped us narrow the field, working with our federal partners. I cannot say enough good about the work of the FBI. Particularly the Baltimore field office in this case, the Maryland State Police, and so many of our partners in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Los Angeles. Those Los Angeles police officers collecting that evidence at that scene in March, it allowed us to tie it back, to get that video, to start this investigation in a successful direction. But the big piece of evidence the big break actually came on what should have been Rachel's 38th birthday. And that was a hit to the DNA that narrowed us down and eventually took us right to on a planet of billions of people, right to a bar still in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and to the arrest of our suspect.
Yeah, talk to us about that, because we both were surprised once you had the DNA, once you had the video, that this didn't end up being a little bit easier, shall we say, to find the guy. What was it that led to that hit? And talk to us about the kind of testing that was done.
Well, sure, and I've been at this for 40 years. The profession has come such a long way, has become so technical, and I can't speak about it in an informed manner. Our detectives certainly can, and they work this case again with our partners. But it allowed us, out of billions of people, we live in a free country. We didn't have a name. We didn't have a name when he, from the Los Angeles case. All we had was that video that you've shown, the back of the side of his face, the back of his head. People think you have the DNA and you know everything about him, including their phone number and address, and that's just not the reality of it. We had to work with, again, the science. The people a lot smarter than me had to work this case, take this case in a direction to figure out who that DNA is related to narrow out our suspect. And again, that led us to a direct hit, which came, the lead that came bringing us on Rachel's birthday to the name of our killer, Victor there. And I hate to use his name in any context, but a monster.
I get that. Yeah. And just to be clear, you then were able to identify exactly who it was. Then how did you figure out where he was?
Well, that's the technology part of this. On the science part, we were able to figure out who he was, and technology, using phones, using IP addresses, and tracking him. We were able to track him from here in Harford County down to, we know he was here for a period of time, at the time of Rachel's murder and right directly afterward, but down to Prince George's County. And then we were getting hits in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and called out on the phone, and the federal partners out there, along with Tulsa, Oklahoma Police Department, were out there in a matter of minutes and made an arrest within 5 hours of us getting the warrant and telling Rachel's family that we knew who this was. We were able to tell them that we now had an arrest. And, Patty, you saw it from Patty, you saw it from Rachel's mother at the press conference, what devastation to the family, but also what a sense of peace. I don't want to say closure, nothing ever brings closure, but a sense of peace with that family. and our Harford County community to know that this monster is not going to do this to anybody else.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.